Chapter 9 is going to draw in a lot of different skills that we've learned throughout the year. Okay. Today we're dealing with scatter plots. Scatter plots are dealing with data that has two variables, bivariate. You graph them as ordered pairs. One of the variables is on the x-axis, one is on the y-axis. So for example, they gave us television ratings. The season is our x, and the number of viewers is our y, and we plotted it on our graph. The thing about scatter plots is there's not always an exact pattern to it, okay? They can be kind of crazy. But you guys all know how to plot points, right? Okay, so just kind of first thing is just a scatter plot. What are we going to do with the scatter plot? So a scatter plot displays information for us. And then we can talk about what type of associations or what trends we can see with scatter plots. So one of the things we can talk about is whether it's a positive, a negative, or no association, which deals a lot like slope or the slant. We always read a graph from the left side to the right side. If your points trend upward, just like on slope, if you're going left to right, it's going up, it's positive. Left to right, if it's going down, that's a negative association. And no association, Ms. Hoff references as mass chaos. There is no trend. It's not like, oh, a lot of points are going up or a lot of points are going down. It is just points everywhere. So when you look at a scatter plot, you can say like, oh, there's a positive trend to this, or there's a negative trend, or there is no association. The second way you can talk about is linear and nonlinear. Linear has what word in it? Line. So everything is going to be very close to a line. They're not going to be perfect. But I always say, could I take a ruler and a thick marker and hit the majority of these points? Yes. Nonlinear would mean not a line. In other words, a curve. On these, it's going to take a big hook. It's not going to be like, well, a couple of the points kind of curve out. Like, it's going to be very obvious that it's nonlinear. So that's one frustration people get. They're like, well, it's kind of linear, but then there's like a couple points out here that might not make it. It's the majority of the points. And if it's nonlinear, it's going to have a hook to it. And the reason I say the majority of the points is because there's two other things that we need to talk about today. In your data set, you may have outliers and you may have clusters. Tell me about that outlier. Way by itself, right? Not anywhere with all the other data. Kind of like a abnormal point, yes? Doesn't fit in with the rest of it. A cluster is a group, a chunk that has more points kind of in an isolated pocket than the other ones, more dense in points, yes? So today, you're going to have to make scatter plots, plot the points on an XY axis. You're going to have to pick which ones are positive, which ones are negative, which ones have no association, which ones are linear, which ones are nonlinear. Who has outliers, who has clusters? Today is all about, can you look at a graph and identify important pieces of it? There's not going to be anything for you to write down. You don't have to turn in any work for me. It's all on Alex. Cool? When you are done, find other homework to work on. I believe you have history projects due at the end of the day, yes? Okay? Lots of people dove into those this morning. You don't have any work to show me on Alex. Complete, I think it's 15 problems. Complete the 15 problems, and then you can work on other homework.